Hey guys, it's Will, Potato Strong here. I'm going to go through some of the stuff that I found this week to share with you guys. I'm using this getpocket.com, so I'm just tagging things as I read them to remember for later. So, first one is this great article that's been around for a while, but humans are natural plant eaters. It's a really good page. It goes through the fact that we're generally herbivores and that, you look at all the different things like facial muscles, jaw, teeth, saliva, stomach, acidity, intestines, nails, stuff like that. And he does a lot of discussion about trying to be rational about looking at the information. And then he's got the typical counter arguments and what his responses are. Humans have always eaten meat, omnivores, B12, other primates, and stuff like that. And quite a detailed article here, which is great. Canine teeth, all the different typical responses that you get from people. So that's a good one to check out and have that as reference when people bring up the various topics. Colin Campbell, there was an interview Vegan Vibes did with him. So that's a good one. There's lots of questions she asked you guys can check out. There's another, sometimes in the plant-based movement, a lot of people talk about drinking tons of water, and it's kind of the general accepted belief, but personally, I don't drink that much water. I feel like I get the water in the plants, and I drink when I'm thirsty. And basically, Jeff Novick, who's a registered dietitian, plant-based, has a good post on that. And essentially, if you're thirsty, drink. But and so you can read that. And there were some follow-up posts here, but. And he quotes some sports medicine journal. And so that's a good one, just in case you're interested in how much water you should be drinking. There's an article here about olive oil. That was done by Thomas Campbell. He's Colin Campbell's son. He's a doctor. He's got a book out called The Campbell Plan. He talks about olive oil. And the best results for people with heart disease, the best results came when oil was removed as well. And he talks about the Mediterranean diet that people try to attribute to pouring olive oil on stuff. But so this is a good article that I found this week. You can check out. I'll put the links in the description of the video below. Plant Power Away. That's a book that came out very recently by Rich Roll. He's an ultramarathon. He's got a podcast as well. His wife. So it's not just recipes, but talks about plant-based lifestyle. So he's got quite a few testimonials. Sanjay Gupta and Gene Barr from Farm Sanctuary, Brandon Brazier, Chris Carr. So everyone's giving it a big thumbs up. So you might want to check that one out. There's an article here by Dr. Greger on treating acne. So a lot of times people on dairy, cheese, and milk, and even oil can cause a lot of problems with acne. So, and teenagers get this a lot. So he has an article on that, using diet instead of a lot of the typical chemicals that people use. Dr. McDougall released a newsletter every month. You should subscribe to that. But he has an article on Eskimos. The fact that they weren't really... People think that Eskimos live up in the north and they eat whale blubber and they have amazing health, and it's not really true. When they looked at their bodies, there's all sorts of heart disease. They didn't live that long. So he goes into a lot of detail about Eskimos. It's kind of a myth that they're really healthy eating all that meat. This was a great video. 100-year-old vegan heart surgeon. So he answers a bunch of questions. He just recently, he's actually 100 now, but he just recently stopped and a few years ago doing heart surgery just to spend more time with his family. So it's pretty amazing. But he goes through some of his experience, and yeah, heart surgeon, amazing. He's been vegan for about 50 years, so really good video if you haven't checked that one out. Dr. Pam Popper talked about, she's got a couple times a week, she puts out a video. She's got this one on spitting cancer statistics. So if somebody, what's happening now is they're detecting cancer earlier, and so it seems that people are living longer, but they're still not, the medical treatments aren't the greatest, so they're still dying the same time they would if they got, if depending on when, if they're treated earlier, it just means that they apparently live past that 5-year point. So it seems like a success, but it's just being detected earlier, and a lot of detections are not actually going to turn into cancer, so people get a lot of unnecessary treatments. That's a really important topic to check out. A lot of over-treatment, over-diagnosis these days with the screenings that are done for breast exams and prostate and stuff like that. And then this other, she talks about exercise cannot overcome an unhealthy diet, so people can't really outrun an unhealthy diet. A lot of people who may appear to be slim because of the exercise may not be that healthy internally with the atherosclerosis and stuff like that. This article, Dr. Carney, she's great. She talks about phytic acid in grains. So there's a lot of people going against the plant-based diet, but specifically like cooked type foods, the grains, beans, and a lot of it comes from the paleo. But I'll talk in a bit. It also comes from the raw food and the fruitarians as well. So we're kind of getting it from both sides. It'd be nice to just be able to debate with meat eaters and dairy, but we're actually kind of fighting it on both, two different fronts here. But I'll just talk about this. This article talks about phytic acid and how it can be actually healthy. And the funny thing is, in this world, in the nutrition and the food-based, in the health food movement, that whenever you hear acid, you think, oh, bad and stuff like that, but people don't really understand. Like amino acids are proteins, and those are good. So when people hear a certain type of acid, they're, they get scared. But and a lot of it comes from Weston Price Foundation, which is a big, like low-carb Atkins type thing. Sally Fallon, and they're trying to scare people a lot. She talks about the funny thing, some of the stuff that the Weston Price Foundation recommends, which is pretty gross. Poached brains and organs, meats, and stuff like that. So that's a good one. She goes into details about, even Dr. Furman talks about the wheat, the phytic acid, because it affects the mineral absorption, but it also has a lot of anti-cancer and other health benefits, reducing inflammation. So that's a good one you might want to read. I did an interview recently, just a few days ago, with Dr. Greger, and that was amazing. He answered a lot of questions: osteoporosis, omega-3, calories in and out, exercise, and just all sorts of great stuff in there. And if you haven't checked out the other interviews, I've also interviewed Dr. McDougall and Dr. Goldhammer. And over time, I'm reaching out to other doctors and registered dietitians and just keep adding interviews. And people are really enjoying these. So it's amazing that they're spending time, taking time out of their day to answer questions. He's got a book he's working on too, which is pretty exciting to see that one when it comes out. And a couple last things here, just wanted to show you, if you haven't checked out my Potato Strong page on Facebook, you can click on the photos link, and like up here, and you'll see all the things. So I've got cereal here. This is rice, puffed rice with shredded wheat and oats. I just put like uncooked oats in there, and almond milk, unsweetened almond milk. Flaxseed you can put in there, bananas, strawberries, whatever, blueberries. I've been having cold cereal lately, just in the mood for that as the weather gets warmer. A lot of oatmeal this winter. These are my baked fries. I threw in some Japanese sweet potatoes, which is a new find for me. This is a falafel wrap, which is amazing. I've got this vegan tzatziki sauce, which is made with silken tofu, and I used dill pickle juice and some cucumber shredded in there. So I've got a recipe for that on my website. I made my own refried beans with pinto beans, and that was great. I fried up some onions and and mash these right in the skillet. And here's some pictures of the falafel. I got this Bananiac t-shirt, so I like to help out other channels when I can. And it's a great shirt. I'm wearing it right now. It's comfortable. It's a great little logo. And you guys should check out Bananiac channel. It's pretty cool. He's getting his he's getting the dietetics degree, so lots of good information there. This is a cool trick with onions. I've been frying them dry now instead of adding water at the beginning. I just put them right on the pan dry, and it releases the sugars and intensifies the flavor. That's one of the things I learned from the UC Davis course, the webinar that they had from the chefs. And so once you add the water or the veggie broth, you get this nice dark broth that comes from the sugars that were released with the onion. So instead of just if you're going to do onions, you could try that first. Just fry them up till they start to brown, and then add the liquid after. Those are the Japanese sweet potatoes. Pinto beans soup, cabbage soup recipe for that. I try to buy local whole grain bread or Ezekiel sprouted whole grain. Sometimes it's nice to get a local loaf as well, fresh made. These are my tacos. I use refried beans in there. I've also got another recipe with black beans, rice, and tomatoes and corn. These are baked tortillas I buy from latortilleria.ca. I've also found a local no oil tortilla in a Sobeys, and but these are great too, and you can bake them up into tacos or tortilla chips. Pasta and salad, banana ice cream. You just blend some frozen bananas, add some cocoa or carob powder or cacao, any kind of sweetener if you want. There's so many things you could do. Some avocado and jalapenos. I made a fresh salsa, and I actually threw some black beans in there. So I chopped up some Roma tomatoes, cilantro, onions, garlic, and jalapeno peppers, and it was so good. Lemon juice or lime juice. So anyways, that's kind of this week in plants. So hope you guys like that, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.